pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I love John's shirt. We love your shirt, John. He didn't hear me, did he?
John, we love your shirt. Okay. Well.
Who do we have on the...
Let's see, we've got John and we have Keith on Zoom tonight. And John and Keith, we have the usual crew here, plus Julie in the audience. And the only addition is some reports and requests of better road signage, which I thought we could talk about during the road foreman's report. Anything else that needs, anybody else?
Perfect.
Any additions? Okay, that's
Nothing I know of.
good.
Approval of the previous minutes.
Yeah, they seem fine. I'll move that we approve them.
I'll second that.
Give that one to you, that's a carbon, I think we got that via email. Any more discussion, all in favor? John?
Hey,
Jessica?
Yes.
Yeah. Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Carried. Pre-requested is nothing. Announcements is nothing. Zoning administrator?
Nothing.
Nothing. All right, we're rolling. Planning commission, was
Not
that
this
the last
time.
one?
Nothing?
Road foreman, Keith, is already on?
If he's not up for it, I can give you a little update.
Okay,
He's, I think, just observing.
okay.
Okay, so they've started the Kelly Hill project this week. Rupert there's 4 guys that they brought along with him to help. What else? Keith had talked to, I don't remember which dealership he talked to today, but he did talk with one of them about replacing a truck, getting some prices on another truck. Outside of that, I can't think of anything that they've been up to, so.
How long do they think the Kelly Hill project will be?
It's gonna be close to a month, I would say, before it's finished.
Okay. What are we gonna top that with? Can we get material from Chat or not?
Yeah, so we moved a crusher in for Chat yesterday, right, Robert?
Yes.
So he's gonna crush a bunch of that material. That's the plan.
Beautiful. That will. Julie?
Just the road, is it closed or is it just alternate routes for the entire time, or is it only when they're working?
I would think that they're gonna try and make it passable every day when they finish, I would assume.
So passable after hours?
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. I haven't been over there, I didn't go over today, but that has been the plan in the past.
I was just curious because we did have someone, I don't remember if it was like a citizen who called and was wondering about UPS, or if it was UPS itself that had called and wondered about when had heard it was going to be closed. So it's just we need to be able to let services know when they're able to travel.
I do know that trucks are still running in and out of Chat's, so the only issue might be if it's a small car that's low to the ground, they may bottom out on some slate chunks.
Gotcha.
But I'm sure they're gonna allow them through there if they wanna go.
And I mentioned that to Dale after the last meeting, and he said that they alert, the necessary parties to
Okay.
be sure that they're aware of what's happening with the roads.
Okay.
That's super vague, but they
Well,
are aware of it.
Right, like, I'm sure they let, like, rescue services and things like that know, but when people call, they call us, so if I have
Keith-
information, it'd be great, so.
Keith has his hand raised.
They have somebody steady on the bulldozer, normally they can keep it so you can get through. It may not be pretty, but you could
Right.
get through.
You may leave your muffler there.
That's nice.
Accessories.
Give somebody to come to talk to the select board about.
From experience, what we've run into in the past is if we put road work ahead signs up, it draws attention and it draws every person that doesn't have anything to do to go check it out, and then it just creates a cluster, so you're so much further ahead to that the road's closed and try to keep people off from it till they can get some work done. Otherwise, there'd be everybody in town going up there to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're so much more productive and safer.
So announcements, anyone looking for a drive?
Kelly Hill Road.
Keith, did you have something?
Just on what you were talking about, we have already contacted UPS and FedEx and all of the deliveries for going up there. The road is closed through the day while they're working, and seeing how it's right next to the gravel pit, we're trying to cover it with dirt every night. So they're doing a good job. It looks nice up there tonight. We're kind of very dependent on Rupert, but that's just the way it is. They've got 4 guys right now, and we've got 1, so.
Well, we've got 2, we did put the second guy in the machine
We
today.
what?
We've got 2, on the project with Riley.
With the machine, so yeah, we do have 1 there that we're responsible for, but it's, yeah. But the delivery people are well aware of what's going on and have been for a week, so they've already made arrangements to alter their routes. And I think after we get started and we get some gravel covered, we will let them through on a regular basis. So we don't want all of the constant traffic. So that's basically, we haven't closed the road, we haven't notified Washington County Control or anybody for emergency services, so that the road is open for that, and they should be fine. They're coming right along, so.
Thank you for that, Keith.
And then
Anything else on the?
the only other thing is that with there's a recent accident at the intersection of North Pawlet Road and Route 30. And there have been a couple of comments about the need or the idea about maybe addressing enhanced signage there, like, you know, maybe adding a flashing stop sign or a stop sign ahead, or you want, you know, one of those like
Right.
dueling arrows kind of on the, across from the intersection on Route 30, or maybe rumble strips in the road before that, but
That's the road that goes across to Wells, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I've missed that, and like, I actually drove off the road one time.
Yeah, it sneaks up on people for sure, and so there's, I think that recent fender bender caused some, or sparked some conversation.
I'm not 100% sure, but because that's a state road, I think they control the access to it too. I think they control how everything comes onto their road, I think.
The signage is
The
wrong.
signage and all
They
that
do.
stuff is all up
So
to them.
the stop ahead sign is their sign?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I
Even though that's
remember from a
on-
different discussion, but
Town road,
I
Because it
cer-
approaches a state road.
right,
And I had that conversation with Keith today, and that is how it works.
okay. So contacting the state would be the thing? Okay,
And there's been enough accidents there where it should,
yeah.
you know, get pushed to the top of the list, I would
So
think.
whose job is it to contact the state?
It could be mine. Can do that.
anything else on the road crew, so that's all?
I just wanted to bring up the email that we got from Judy Lake. I'm not sure who else was on it. I guess, Mike, you were on this email also.
Yes, I did see that.
Yes, she
Okay.
said, she would like it if we could move the sign here in Pawlet to the other end of town. Mentions it's getting harder and harder to cross Route 30 at maps, and that people were flying in real fast from that direction.
Oh, the speed sign?
Yeah, the speed sign.
You know, I was thinking about that too, about how it's been in that same
We've
space
had both
for
of
a
them in
while,
like the
and
same place for like a year.
yeah, maybe that would be a good idea.
When are we getting the next batch?
We haven't ordered them yet.
It's the new year.
Yeah,
When does,
We didn't put it in the budget. We budgeted for
we did.
2, correct?
Yeah, we budgeted for 2 more this fiscal year.
Not the one that just started.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy, well, I guess we're not getting 2 more speed signs.
Because I thought we decided to go with 2. We didn't have, the 2 that came out, the 2 that we have came out of the budget that just ended?
No. We got one, this most recent closed year, and then one from the year before, and we put nothing in the budget for this year.
I thought each one was.
We got 2
I
together.
thought we got 2 the first
The
year
2
and 2
came
the second
together.
year.
I'm
So then we just
certain
didn't-
of that.
We just didn't buy them in this last year's budget?
Ooh, that would be silly.
I thought we decided on 2.
Well, no, I remember the conversation being 2 and then budgeting for another 2.
For 4 total?
Yeah, for 4 total.
That's what I was thinking. That's what we intend, I
was
thought
the
we intended
intention.
to,
Yeah, I thought so
that
too.
way, so.
I know we bought,
The
I know
2
we didn't put it in this year's budget. I know that.
Well, the 2 were purchased together. They were we bought 2.
Did we buy them like end of June, beginning of July, and I just split it?
Not that,
Not sure. I
My-
mean, maybe you could look that up.
my
Find out for
interactions
next
with my
time.
friend at
Elon City,
Elon
right?
City, my dear friend, it was 2 in one order. So I don't know if you, when you were paying for it, did it separately, but I know that the invoice and everything was 2 in 1. Yeah, so we should check that out. But I think that, I was noticing that the other day. I mean, people are, I think they've lost their luster a little bit.
People aren't surprised to see them anymore.
Yeah.
When we move them, people will be surprised again and they'll start working better again.
Yes, and I have the folder and all the cords and everything are here, so I can, maybe we can,
You need to redo the.
yeah, I'm gonna make the
verbiage
message
as
a little
well.
like cheekier and
Yeah.
really kind of amp it up a little bit.
Hey! Bad.
Something good. I'll sleep on it and see.
Do whoa like a horse stopping.
Yes.
One thing
Yeah.
right now is that with the town crew focusing on this project, we're not gonna be able to have them move until this project's over, so.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
So
another
we've got
month.
time to
It's gonna
really
be
think
another
about
month before the
business.
town crew has availability to move it, cause they need to focus on this project right now, so.
Well,
But that's certainly something that we should mull around and pick a new spot so that when they do get a break, they can.
Yeah, and find out, what new spot in West Pawlet would work well to move
Yeah,
it
because
to.
how would you say it's working over there still?
It's hard to say. I don't know about coming down 153, like when you come from by the quarries, well, it was up there by the sand shed for a little while, so.
That was, it's, when you're coming into the settlement.
Right, the firehouse there, maybe it needs to be back out at the edge of town.
We
Coming in
probably
from
could
Rupert.
time it at the beginning of school. We might want to have one down by the school, right at, just as school's starting up again, maybe down there for a month or 2.
Okay, so we'll get some input on that if anybody has any input, anybody that's watching the minutes, so.
And Duquette Senior just joined the virtual meeting room too.
If we're all good with the road? Anything from the assessors? And Deb?
I didn't get anything from Deb.
She's on vacation this week.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
The only thing I know, before she left, she did test the tabulator, the new tabulator, like did the initial test.
Mm-hmm.
And that was successful.
Okay.
And then I know she has plans to start processing some, early absentee ballots with BCA members when she comes back, but I don't know what that schedule is.
Okay. right, then it's up to you, Julie.
Okay, just the two warrants. Payroll for this period was $8,216.01. Accounts payable, $18,392.19. Of those, general fund monies are $15,067.41. Highway, $10,792.77. And wastewater, $748.02. So I need motions on the warrants, and then we'll deal with tax rates.
Okay. How does anyone feel about the warrants?
Well, I can move that we will approve them, that 23001 and 23002.
Okay, and Bob seconded it? Any more discussion? All in favor? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Approved.
Okay. So then I gave you all a copy of my tax rate calculations. So these are numbers based on the budget, and in my memo I indicated what each one was, and then what it was up by. So the general fund tax rate is up by almost 6 cents. The highway is down a little by almost 2 cents. Local agreement is just slightly up. Both education rates are up. Those are set by the state. The overall rates, if approved as listed, would be 2.0792 for homestead, 2.246 for non-homestead. So both just up by close to 15 cents. The only thing else, I didn't leave you copies, but I will admit my error in budgeting when the budget that was voted on, so the budget that was published and then voted on, I had inadvertently included the entire amount of financing a truck for a year. So that was in the budget that was passed. So as an alternative to what I presented to you, you could keep that figure in and have extra money for a truck, which would be a difference in the, so instead of the highway rate being 0.2888, it would be 0.3041. And it's not a drastic difference to the overall numbers. The overall number was 0.20792 for homestead, and it would be 20945. And the non-homestead was 2.2246, and it would be 2.2399. But the 18 Mac is paid for at this point. There was one final payment due in July, and I prepaid it as a prepaid expense.
Okay, so.
And so this would be like revised.
I'm trying to process it.
Yeah, so if you look here, this is what the prepaid expense was. So this was what would technically be in our in this fiscal year. This here was in the budget.
Okay.
So it just affects this rate.
29,000 is what a whole year's worth of payments turn into, right?
Right.
So where does that money come from if we don't put it in there?
If you don't put it in there, you're just gonna be under budget.
It would carry over though, right?
Yeah, highway budget, any funds that are voted on for highway must be used for highway regardless.
So by leaving this $29,000 and instead of just not putting any money aside, we'll just like like we're still paying on a truck and we'll have that and,
Be accumulating.
Yeah.
yeah, put aside for the new truck, so that'll just increase our down payment.
So just so I know for certain, the budget with the 29,000 is the one that we approved in November and that the voters voted on?
Yes.
I mean, I do think it carries a little bit of weight that that was actually the budget that was voted on.
Right, you're not hitting them with an unexpected
Yeah.
expense.
It's like a 1.5 cents difference in the
In that one.
in the
Yeah.
grand list.
Yeah.
And not the grand list, but the tax rate would be 1.5 cents different. Okay.
But if we hadn't decided, or if we did decide to buy a truck and we didn't have that included in there, that money wouldn't be in there to make the payments, correct?
Right, because that's how we get money, right? This tax rate is how you get money. So you wouldn't be collecting the revenue.
We wouldn't be collecting the money for it. So I feel that that's the right thing, because we know we gotta buy a new truck. It's just the fact of how soon we can get it to keep us in line, so.
And it is already approved.
And it is the budget that we voted on and approved, so we pretty much, like you say, Jessica, that's what we gotta stick to it, because,
Keith has his hand raised.
okay? Go ahead, Keith.
You need to know whether you're gonna buy a truck when you set the tax rate. Because that's not a voted appropriation, that's an appropriation from the select board to buy a truck.
But it's in
And
the
it does
budget,
not
it's
have
not
to
an
be.
appropriation.
It's what?
It's in the budget, it's not an appropriation. It was an
No,
error
it's
in the budget.
Right, it's not voted on. And you can buy the truck or equipment without having a vote on that expenditure.
Right, but it
So-
already is voted on in the budget.
If it's not built into the budget, then set when you set your tax rate, you just need to set it high enough to make the payment.
So Keith, it's in the budget. It was in the budget. That expense was in the actual voted on budget.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Julie, that's the truck that you're paying off right now, right? Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is you included that in your budget that we voted on? It's already voted on then? You
Yes.
don't have any choice. If they voted on it, you gotta collect it in taxes.
So that's where we're going with, okay,
But we don't have to spend it.
right. We can save it toward that truck, so it gives us a better down payment.
Absolutely, you
If we
can.
can't get one.
Okay, perfect.
I have a question, it's not a super important question, but I'm just curious. When does the grand list vary? Does it change year to year, or does it only change when we get everything reassessed?
It changes every year, but there isn't a reappraisal every year.
Okay,
So whenever anybody gets a permit, or whenever anyone tears the building down, or anything that happens that changes what a property would be assessed at, that would go through their office, they would go reassess that one particular property.
just the one,
And
okay,
so there is some variation in the grand lists every single year.
great.
But there's not a across-the-board town-wide reappraisal scheduled until 2026, I think, was what we estimated we would be doing.
Okay, thank you, I just wanted to understand that.
So does somebody wanna make a motion to approve this tax rate set? For, let's see, the municipal appoint 628, the homestead education of 1.4610, local agreement of .0055. Am I reading them down through right?
You want me to put all of are these all going into a motion for the general fund, highway, local, state, and then, or are you just voting on the overall rates that you have in your memo?
I think you really only need a motion on the final homestead and non-homestead total overall rate.
That's in the memo right there.
It's not in the memo, correct? It's the only sheet is what Mike has.
Right, this is the sheet
That's the update.
that we want to talk about, okay? So it comes down to, yeah, the homestead tax rate ends up being 2.0945, and non-homestead is 2.2399. So somebody want to make a motion for that one?
I'll make the motion.
Bob will make the motion. Do I have a second on that motion?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Approved, carried.
John has his hand raised.
Who?
John?
Go ahead.
Is there a way that supervised me down, Julie, I can sign this tomorrow?
Oh, sure. Yep.
Okay.
This
When,
is- do you
when
want
will
to,
you be there?
I'll be in at 9:30 and then I have to leave and come back. So I'll be leaving at 2:30 for that errand. And then I can come back after that, if that works better for you, or we can do any time between 9:30 and 2:30.
Okay, well, thank you.
do you want us to sign this one right here then, Julie?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Nope, that was all mine.
Frank?
So the tax bill and the sewer fees are going out about the same time?
Yes, I have not tackled the sewer rate thought process. That will be at the next meeting.
But it's not negotiable, or the select board has decided to approve that sending out?
So, I mean, the negotiation is minimal, right? Because
Yeah.
it's based on budgets and it's based on the number of users, so it's kind of just mathing and just, it's like stamping.
So you can just send that out, the select board doesn't have to decide on that?
No, the select board does have to decide on that, it's just that I just didn't get.
This has to go
I
back
just
to
didn't do
Julie.
it yet.
Okay.
I have to have it in the mail 30 days before the collection due date.
Okay,
I think I'll have time to do that. It's only 100 and something bills that I have to print versus 800. This is just more time consuming,
Yep.
so I wanted to build in more time. Oh, the other thing I did want to just mention is that we have had, since I set us up for the Vermont Housing Assistance Program, I've had at least 5, I think, inquiries from VHAP to get them data, and I've had 1 payment come through.
Okay. When, I know that you had been planning to send out like a notification about that with the bill. Did you end up doing that, or would that be with these next bills that go
It
out?
would be with the next bills.
Okay, so then even more people might know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, during our West Pawlet, little open house that we had for the planning process, one of the people who came by is a person who applied for that. So, yeah. I was glad to see that people are taking advantage of it.
Emergency management? Nothing. Health officer?
Yes. Jennifer submitted a report. There was a dog bite on Kelly Hill Road. And there was a report of trash in a fire pit at a residence on Route 153 in West Pawlet. Jennifer went and advised them that burning trash is illegal in Vermont. And the resident said that they would remove the trash. And this is the same residence with the pop-up camper that the people were sleeping in last fall. They were asked if anyone is living in it now and was told no, but Jennifer is not sure that's the truth.
Okay. Wastewater, she
Yes.
sent us a little report.
She did. So the report included the wastewater treatment facility DMR submission files and the VTUMS updates for May and June of 2022. Jill could not find the email sending from May, which I don't think we ever got a report in May, so she said she'd resend that with this email. The Albany Pump Services did rebuild the pump and the pump pulled from Spruce Gum Pump Station, so we now have a spare for that pump station. Future priorities include how to proceed with potential sludge holding upgrades, the latest meeting with John Kiernan from RCAP to try to see if infrastructure funding can be paired with RD funds to get to 100% grant funding. Upcoming projects still have some sort of high wet weather flow coming into Spruce Gum, need to camera and have repaired before we end up with violations at the facility from high nutrient loading. Schedule replacement or repair of air valve near the end of force main from Spruce Gum Pump Station with Mike McDougal or A1. Will return in summer or fall of 2022 to get the last few sections of the system along 30 Main Street, Nelson Terrace, and Egg Street. Install of new hose bib faucets, and most are broken or leaking on the inside and outside of the facility. We'll do this in the spring on the inside faucets. And as always, please let me know if you have any questions, and that is submitted by Jill Marsano from VTUMS.
And I also, last time I had said I would email John Kiernan, the person we met at the wastewater plant, to talk about it. I did just email him, I got around to it today, so he obviously hasn't got back to me. But I did go back and look at his most recent email, which was at the end of March. Let me just sign this real quick and then I can continue telling you about that. And there were a few items from his email that are action items that we could do. So what he had said to us the last time he emailed us was that, thank you, sorry, that he had a call with Jenny Oster from Hoyle and Tanner, and she said that the study she completed was not a preliminary engineering report, which is what he thought it was, but instead it was a feasibility study that looked at identifying what the problem was and some of the potential solutions. So because we don't yet have a preliminary engineering report, we are unable to get on the construction priority list for the state for funding this coming year. But that's okay because there will be additional funding in the next several years. He said the preliminary engineering report will look a little closer at the alternatives to clearly define a project. Jenny's workload is booked for several months. Well, that was earlier in the year. She did indicate she'd be able to help later in the year. So John Kiernan thinks that his company could help in the coming months with, 1, reviewing the feasibility study, which he doesn't have a copy of. So something I'd like to do is find out how to get hold of that feasibility study that was done to send it to him.
I looked and I found one thing tonight before I left work. And
Okay.
I'll hunt it back down and send it to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
It showed like a 60% complete feasibility study and price for new clarifiers, but that was all I found from Jenny. So if we have to, we could just email her and ask her to resend it.
Yeah, that might be what we need to do, in fact. And then the second thing he could do would be help to define the scope of the project, so when Jenny is ready, she can focus on doing the engineering. 3, help to develop an overall project schedule. And 4, help to identify the possible funding alternatives and ready the town to make the request. And 5, look at a potential income survey to help get additional funding. So we talked about that being that if we surveyed the West Pawlet area, if we did find out that the income there was lower, we might be able to get more funds from the state. So I think, and so I emailed him back and said, you know, I know it's been a few months, but we want to go ahead, and I think what we have to do is get you the feasibility study. So, yeah. So yeah, I think that we probably should email Jenny Oster and ask her to just send us a copy of the study she did.
Wasn't there something that we did, sorry,
In a minute, Frank.
isn't there something that we did that did determine that the income in West Pawlet was lower? Was that for
Yeah,
ARPA
we did.
funding? Or no, was that for?
That was for one of our grants, but we just used some particular numbers. And
Yeah.
I think that we talked with him about this, and they would want to run their own numbers, like
'Cause
separately.
we pulled from the state.
We did
and, like,
pull from
census, right?
So, I mean, when we talk to him again, I can go over that with him and see. But yeah, we did pull some state numbers that did show, a certain number of, you know, below the poverty line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just in an effort to not double all of our
Yes,
steps.
exactly.
Frank?
The homestead exemption, you all filled that out, right? We probably have that. If the state has that data, that might be helpful because you could probably narrow it down per lot address and get it that way. I don't know, but that
Thanks.
might be something to go fishing for.
Facilities report. Anything to report on any of the facilities?
So I put an ad out on Front Porch Forum and we've not gotten any bites on it.
0?
A whole lot of nada on that. So, I was like, I had really big expectations for that, but did not deliver thus far. And I don't really know enough about how that whole thing works. I'm like total noob with Front Porch Forum. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it just drops right down to the bottom of the list and nobody will see it again. So we'll have to come up with something else.
Okay.
Or come up with another idea
Viable.
for gathering people to try to do some work. But it's something that I think we should probably consider as, you know,
What about the guys that did the roof work? Do they do other stuff?
the slate people.
The slate people just do slate. Yeah, the ones who did the work here on the town hall.
The ones that did the work over at the library?
I don't know about them. No, I'm thinking about the ones we got last year for town hall.
Weren't they the same one? Rudd Builders? They only do slate?
Yeah, they're pretty busy.
He does it, anything you want, really. He may very well, depending on how busy he is, because he specializes in roofing, but since he's local, he likes to do work that he can do
Okay.
around. Because we've had him do a couple other projects at work that, you know, a little bit a stretch from roofing and stuff like that. And he says it's nice because it's local, so it is possible you could talk to him about it. And fixing the porch would be something good for his old man to do. So,
So time to start asking around.
I'll try and see. They're doing some work right now. If I can catch up with Dave, I'll talk to him about it and see if it's anything they may be. Other than that, nothing about steps or nothing like that. Nobody wants,
Nothing yet.
everybody's crazy busy and they don't have time to even talk about it. No surprise there. Any older unfinished business to talk about tonight?
Just today I reached out to B&H for the audiovisual accessories and I was told that you can have a government account with them, so I set up a government account. Julie helped me out and it'll be a decreased rate because of that. So we got them our tax form and were you able to send that in? So I'll send them the shopping cart that we have and then they'll re-quote it with a discounted rate and then we can go ahead and purchase it.
Excellent. Good deal. That'll be nice.
I had to set it up with Sean's email address because it needed to be through a vermont.gov or a .gov email and I'm just a measly Gmailer, so Sean, it's a group effort to make it work, so
Perfect.
yeah.
Any new business?
I don't know, I have something to add. I don't know if this is where it falls or not, but I'd like to see how you guys feel about following the state guidelines and not wearing the masks.
Well, did you see the email change that Deb had sent and stuff like that? Did you read any of that over? Because there was some discussions about that between a resident was asking questions about that.
I didn't
And,
see, what was that in the email?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you were on it.
I don't remember seeing that email either.
It's because you never received it. I will, and I neglected to forward it
What was
to
that in
you.
regards to?
There was a concern from a resident about the fact that we still require masks in the town hall.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so I'll forward that to you guys, and,
I didn't realize that everybody didn't get it, so.
no, I didn't quite either. So, and I didn't read it closely enough to be able to give the highlights.
Yeah, I breezed through it quick because I didn't have a lot of time.
I think the initial request was for identification of statutes that would allow the rules to be in place.
Yeah.
And I think then the secondary request was that he hadn't felt satisfied that that was answered. I believe the answer back was that it kind of had felt like it was like Deb's decision alone. And her response was like, this was a municipal decision.
Right.
And so it wasn't like anything that I've done, and we are open. I think there was concern that like we're not here because the door is locked or something, so we're not open, but and so her response back was that it was a municipal decision and that the doors, that we are open, but the sign that reads for appointments is for researchers specifically. And so she had answered him and that, and then I don't know that there was any further communication to him. I think that Deb had gathered some information from VLCT, and I don't know where it stands.
General
I think-
information that kinda,
She did reply, I'm just looking at it right now. Yes, so Deb gathered information from Jenny at the VLCT, and she did forward that to Mike. And so, yeah, the initial message was wondering why the town clerk's office is subject to appointments only and mandatory wearing of a mask when entering the building, and it goes on from there. So there was that clarification. But there have been several questions from people about the town's choice for continued mask wearing, and I know that the way that it had stood was that we were supposed to revisit it every 30 days, and then the board we just decided to make the motion to continue with it so we didn't have to do it every 30 days and stay along with state guidelines.
I think that, if somebody's worried about it, or if you're worried about it, wear a mask. If you're concerned, if you're not feeling well, just don't come to the meeting.
We do have the virtual component for that.
But I mean, the state guidelines don't require it at this point.
I think we're green on the latest CDC map, finally. In the spring, we were like high orange, all that stuff.
And there was a period where like Vermont was green, but Rutland County was red.
Yeah, I'm like, good job, Rutland County.
I think we've come into at least yellow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up the state.
I mean, I still have to mask before I go to big shows because, if I was to test positive, then I couldn't travel. And that's my livelihood, so.
Of course, it's not easy to find.
I remember the tail end of January meeting where it was decided not to have it on the agenda every 30 days. But it seems like at least discussing it, shall we continue for the next 30 days, would enable continued pleasant compliance, as I refer to it. And at least discuss, where are we at, and at least as a board discuss it and put it on the agenda as a standing item, like many things are, first meeting of the month or last meeting of the month, if you decide to continue for the present time requiring masks.
Well, I mean, Julie, what do Deb and the people who work in the office, I mean, you're the ones who are here all the time. Do you have thoughts about it? I mean, we're only here once a week, right?
Right. So I think that most of the people that work in the office are becoming more comfortable with the concept that people will be coming in with no masks soon. And I'm not willing to set up outside anymore for tax collection, so I would like the door to be open. I think I may be alone in that feeling.
Frank?
Along the lines of whether we're safe or not, I have a meeting tomorrow in Montpelier at 10:30 with the DFR. That's the old banking insurance. The numbers that are coming through on the health insurance numbers, I'm seeing some from various companies. One insurance group was seeing an increase in excess health for Q1 of 2022 of 1,100%. Those companies would be sending those numbers to the Department of Financial Resources, who I'm meeting with tomorrow. Party order commission is on vacation, to find out the actual numbers for the close of the second quarter of 2022 and finding out what they're seeing. If the insurance companies are, because they don't print money, if the 1,100% is way beyond double, okay? So where is this coming from? What is happening? I'm seeing a lot more ambulances. I've talked with the head of EMS for Washington County. He says all our EMS rescue squads are busy as hell. I talked to some Granville squad members. We're extremely busy. Same thing is happening over Vermont. I'm just visiting resource rescue squads, 3 of them today, and group by Brandon and around, and they're all busy for some reason. Okay, and it may be COVID related. So we don't know. I will know because these people at the DFR have the numbers. They have the reports by law that they have to submit to the insurance companies to DFR, number one, and number two, any requests for increases in premium because of losses will also have to be approved by DFR. Okay, so after the meeting tomorrow, I will be more clear-headed on what the actual numbers are, period, because this is to report to DFR incorrect numbers is fraud. They don't do it. These are the realest numbers on the planet on this matter, and so I have no idea. They might have a clue because part of the authorizing of rate increases would be a reason for authorizing rate increases. And so if it's COVID related or whatever, they will know, and I will be requesting this information if they don't have it through a public records request. They have to release it.
Okay.
So I don't know, but there's something going on still. And this is something that a lot of people are maybe thinking is fun, you know.
Well, thank you. We'll expect a report when you, after.
Next meeting,
Yeah.
I'll have a report, what happened there.
Julie?
I mean, I'm just an avid news, pay attention to her. And I think it's clear, most recent data, that while COVID cases are not, as low as we might like them, hospitalizations and deaths are way down. Vaccines work very well. Most of the people who die or end up in the hospital are unvaccinated, and single masking works. I also think one of the big components to what Frank's talking about is there is a mental health crisis in this country that was caused by 2 years of isolation. And part of any rationale you use in making a decision, in my opinion, should be thinking about a return to normalcy to ease just that mental health component that people are really anxious. And maybe having a more normal, you know, meetings or sight of people coming in and out of public spaces would ease some of that anxiety. In other people, it may trigger more. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just saying that that should be a component to what we're thinking about.
I wonder if we should put this on the agenda for next week, because then if anybody who heard us talk about it at this meeting wants to weigh in, then they have 2 weeks that they could, you know, say anything about it. If Deb wants to weigh in, she can.
I think
weigh in.
it's important that Deb and Sue get to weigh in because they're here all the time along with you. So the three of you and the list and Karen, you know, you're the ones that are mostly affected by it, and I think that you should be able to weigh in.
I do think that it's important to consider it also though from a scientific standpoint and see what the mandates, like the state mandates are from the health professionals. And while I think that the emotional side of it is valid, like Julie said, people have very different feelings about it, I don't know that the decision should be made solely based on emotional opinions about what people do or do not want. And I think that the last discussion that the board had was about following state guidelines and trying to keep up with what the state guidelines were. So I do think, and if there's not this is just kind of my own 2 cents, but if there's not a building mandate per se, it doesn't mean that people don't need to wear them. You know, people could keep wearing them if they want to.
The other component to that, right, is elected officials have control over their offices.
Right, so there could be office to office requirements.
So there doesn't have to be a building mandate for me to require a mask inside my office, just so people can understand that. Almost entirely irrelevant for my office, and almost 100% only relevant for that office because they hold all of the land records that people come to research and look at. That being said, I do think one of the components to that email chain that Deb sent around did address that, and we can make accommodations for people who don't choose to wear masks to still access records, even if they're not inside that office.
Frank?
I'll know at the next meeting, report this. The only downside I see from looking from a bigger picture is if the health insurance, because if you have more people going to the hospital for X, Y, and Z, non-COVID or COVID, then, and you have a substantial increase in those costs that the insurance companies are paying for, then what may happen is that the insurance department or DFR is going to approve rate increases, which would be spread out across the board, including improved insurance that the town pays for. And so we'll know more. That's one of my key questions.
Okay. So we'll put this on the agenda for the next meeting. And
What's the library and post offices? Does anybody know that?
Ellie, would you comment on that, please?
Despite my statement at a library board meeting that masks were required by the supervisors for all town-owned buildings, at that meeting, I believe it was right after the election, they decided to go, that masks are optional at the library.
Yes, they have a very nice sign on the door, which is like, masks are optional, but you know, if you want to wear one, that's great, and we won't give you a hard time either way. And that was a very nice sign.
The post office is not mandating. I don't think any federal buildings are anymore. I could be wrong about that.
Now, I've gone in the post office and I wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Any other new business? Public comment? we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yeah.
Carried. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.